everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Peter Dubois. First tonight, a devastating blow for the town of Stacyville. A fire badly damaged their fire station last night. Assistant Fire Chief John Cummings says they were called to the Stacyville Fire Department at 370 Station Road just before 9 p.m. No one was inside at the time. Cummings says the building was filled with smoke when they arrived. One firefighter was injured while he was trying to remove one of their trucks. He was treated for a leg injury and released. Cummings says they lost a lot of their turnout gear and several pieces of apparatus were damaged as well. The fire was ruled accidental, and the fire marshal's office says it started on the wall where multiple lithium-ion batteries were charging on a shelf. Cummings says surrounding towns will help cover Stacyville while their department recovers. Some tense moments earlier today in Herman when the school district received some, quote, concerning phone calls that, according to Superintendent Micah Grant, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office was notified and responded to the situation. A police presence could be seen outside the elementary school for a short time this afternoon. Superintendent Grant sent out a notice saying they didn't believe there was ever a threat to students' safety. After school activities went on as planned, the students will return for a normally scheduled school day tomorrow. A chaotic scene unfolded in Baileyville today when multiple law enforcement agencies were called to a local motel at the intersection of Route 1 and Route 9. An initial call of shots fired came in saying one person was wounded and two subjects were inside a room at that motel. When police arrived, they say no one had actually been wounded, but they did find a bullet hole in the floor of one of the rooms. They say they tried to make contact with that unit, but no one answered.
Come to find out that after a 2.5 hour, 3 hour standoff, there was nobody in there. We had located the other two. The person that allegedly had the gun we found, we detained them. However, right now it's still under investigation and he was released for now as he had alibis for all the timelines.
Police are still investigating, and Sergeant Preston says there will likely be charges filed in connection with the incident. He says there is no threat to the general public. No names of those persons involved are being released. Police are asking for the public's help finding a missing Bradford man. 22-year-old Caleb Worcester was last seen at the Portland Jetport on May 20th at around 1:30 p.m. A relative says he was waiting for a friend to pick him up and drive him to Machias. When his friend arrived at the Jetport, Caleb was nowhere to be found, and they've been unable to reach him since. He's described as a black male, 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing around 185 pounds. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to contact the Maine State Police. That number is 973-3747. In other news tonight, the future of the dams along the Kennebec River was the subject of a public hearing in Augusta today. Our Augusta reporter, Corey Bouchard, attended the hearing to learn more about the connection between the dams and declining fish populations in the Kennebec.
At the heart of today's public hearing was the impact of the Kennebec River dams on local fish populations. Tom Panett, one of the residents who testified, criticized the draft environmental impact statement.
First, the draft environmental impact statement is grossly inadequate. Its current provisions for fish passage will simply not work.
FERC is now looking at the third dam, the Shawmut Dam, to relicense it. And because the primary issue in this relicensing is fish passage, at the same time, they're looking at the 2 dams below it and the 1 dam above it, because all 4 of those dams have to work to get Atlantic salmon back to the Sandy River.
Others who testified echoed that the dams were the primary reason for the steep decline in the Atlantic salmon population.
There is consensus among biologists and geologists today that the Earth is experiencing 2 crises: extinction and reduced biodiversity.
Literally, the difference between the Kennebec below Waterville and the Kennebec above the Lockwood Dam is that below there we've got a living river. Go out today, you will see millions and millions of fish.
The reason the dams cause so much issue, according to advocates, is because they block both salmon moving upstream to lay eggs, but also juvenile fish trying to navigate their way downstream.
Sadly, the larger picture in Maine is much less encouraging, with the native anadromous fish species only able to effectively access less than 10% of their former range.
take the dams away and those fish, come in the spring, they're in the Sandy, by mid-June, spend all summer up there in the cold water, and we start seeing things go off.
FERC will now consider all the public and written comments before making their final licensing decision. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Earlier this week, the University of Maine Board of Trustees adopted a nearly $650 million spending plan for the upcoming academic year. The budget includes an increase in tuition costs by around 3%, equating to roughly $800 more on average per student, both for in and out-of-state students. According to the chief financial officer for the university, the board is searching for ways to save money as they continue to deal with inflation and rising wage costs. However, university officials say even with the increase, UMaine will still be about 35% less expensive than any equivalent New England flagship university.
Even with this modest increase, even before we factor in financial aid and ability to pay on the students level, it's still a significant bargain for students looking for a quality education.
The budget also includes investments in on-campus buildings like dorms. The board hopes this will improve student recruitment, retention, and reduce operating costs. They also say they're working to cut back on costs through energy efficiency projects, including the replacement of more than 6,000 lights to cut electric usage. The budget is set to take effect in July. And there's a lot to talk about when you venture into the great outdoors today. It was really just an amazing day out there. Really felt like the first true day of summer temperatures.
Which is appropriate considering we're moving into the unofficial start of summer. So I guess Mother Nature decided to comply, at least for today.
Yeah, it was
We
nice.
thank her for that.
Indeed we do.
Indeed we do. And let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast and see what the overnight's looking like.
Here we go. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture. It's not just a store, it's an experience, and we had an experience today. Look at these temperatures. 86 here in Bangor, 84 Millinocket, 77 Bar Harbor. So well above average temperatures. The average high is near 70. We're all above that today and tomorrow as well, and Friday before some changes come in here over the weekend. All right, so there are some thunderstorms in our forecast for tomorrow. With it being so humid, this air has a lot of moisture in it. We could get some locally heavy rainfall across the region tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Tonight, though, we're still dry, but there is a system over here moving in our direction that will likely lift the air enough tomorrow afternoon to give us some strong storms out there that could give us some hail and also some very heavy rainfall. Our forecast, though, tonight, though, is mostly clear skies. It's kind of humid out there with low temperatures down near 60. Your full forecast is coming up.
So a low in the 60s.
Yeah, that's, I think, a first.
Indeed, at least for
in a
this,
while.
at least for this season. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10. Bangor looking to improve upon its downtown, and the city wants your input on which changes should be made.
And some Central Maine educators and guidance counselors got the opportunity of a lifetime today. We'll have those stories and more local news when we come back.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
So we've lived in this house coming up 23 years. We just bought the tractor, and I haven't any idea how we survived without it.
We're trying to rebuild the rock wall on this new property. She says, pick that rock up and put it here. No, it'll look better if you turn it this way. No, we're gonna need to move it over there 5 feet.
I would come to him and say, can you do this for me? And he'd kind of, do the, ugh. But now he has a tractor, he's much more motivated.
Experience United, your local John Deere dealer.
I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
Lybalvi helps us push back against bipolar 1.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increased risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing, or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? For info, text copay to 45286.
I can see your voice! America's favorite guessing game is back. I Can See Your Voice, Thursdays on Fox.
Hello everyone. Coming up on the next edition of Good Morning Maine, we'll meet a local inventor who came up with a gadget that could save supermarkets a ton of money. It's a cool new device that will help keep food chilled at a greatly reduced cost. We'll also meet the new Bangor Superintendent of Schools on the next Good Morning Maine. We hope you'll join us.
The Bangor School Department welcomed a new superintendent this evening. Our Callie Warren has the story.
Bangor School System's new superintendent was announced at Wednesday night's committee meeting. Dr. Marie Robinson, the former superintendent of Katahdin Schools, will officially be appointed on July 1st. She's originally from Pennsylvania and has lived in Maine since 2016.
I am feeling overjoyed. I am thrilled and completely humbled and honored to have been nominated and voted in this evening as Bangor School Department's next superintendent of schools.
During Robinson's experience at Katahdin Schools, a 100% graduation rate was achieved for 3 years out of her 6-year tenure.
I'm really just passionate about education. I'm excited to get into Bangor and learn more about the community and everyone here, and students, staff, and families.
Bangor School Committee members say they are confident Robinson will be an asset to their team and fits the standards the hiring committee was looking for, especially engaging with students of all backgrounds.
We have students now of diverse backgrounds, someone who would be able to really engage with them and really foster that sense of belonging that is very, very needed.
Other school committee members say they're confident in Robinson's leadership.
When I think of Dr. Robinson, I think lifelong learner and I think mentor. I think she's deeply committed to learning, to improving her craft, to connecting with other superintendents.
She is a woman who does not define herself, at least from our experience so far, with this is how we're going to do it. It is very much we have to go and try and see, and if we need to change, we change.
In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The city of Bangor is looking to improve its downtown area. They want the public's input, and that's why an in-person workshop took place this evening to hear from the citizens themselves. Our Doug Banks has the details of their study and spoke with a few residents along the way to hear their thoughts on how they'd like to see the downtown area improved.
With the goals of revitalization and identifying strategies in reducing congestion, improving pedestrian and traffic safety, and more, the City of Bangor is conducting a study. The Downtown Bangor Streetscape Improvement Study will focus on the city's downtown core, encompassed by the city's streets listed here. Supported by local organizations, the study is part of a village partnership initiative done in collaboration with Maine DOT, who will pay a significant portion of the adopted improvements, according to the city. Wednesday's public workshop offers a chance for people to express how they see the future of this busy, colorful, and historic piece of Bangor. Before the meeting, 3 residents offered their own suggestions as to how they would improve downtown Bangor.
Sidewalk needs to be fixed. I can't get through that sidewalk there.
I'd really love to see a reduction in hostile infrastructure. Over the last couple of years, they've turned the benches into 3-seat benches that keep people from being able to lay down, keep homeless people from being able to sleep. I'd also like to see stuff like bike racks and places for people to lock up bikes and carts and the other things they use to get around and carry their equipment around.
The traffic can get pretty dangerous if you're trying to cross the street, and sometimes the traffic lights don't correspond with each other to cross. Things look pretty good. I like the plants being planted, and I think it's just the traffic that's what's dangerous. Is, you know, people don't always stop for the walk signs, and even if they're flashing, they still run through them.
For more information, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A group of Central Maine educators and guidance counselors went on the ride of their lives while also learning about the benefits the National Guard could provide to students. The Maine Army National Guard held what they call an educator flight, where local recruiters got a chance to talk with teachers and guidance staff from several Maine schools about the National Guard's mission and opportunities it could open up for their students to serve their community, state, and country while still earning a college education. After the briefing, educators got the chance to go on a ride in a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter to see the capital region from the air. Sergeant First Class Stephen Brown, one of the recruiters, says there is one big message he would like to get through to those educators.
The biggest thing when people are talking about college or continuing education and military service is that we do pay 100% tuition to any state school in Maine. So that includes the community colleges, UMaine, Orono, all the state schools, and a lot of times Maine Maritime doesn't get the attention it deserves as one of the state schools in Maine. So we do pay for that, and it's a great resource for a lot of people that are currently serving the National Guard.
Sergeant First Class Brown adds there are over 60 career fields available in the Maine National Guard. Anyone interested in learning more should contact their local recruiter.
And what an experience getting to go up one of those Black Hawks.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that puts a bow on the day. That is for sure.
That's quite the recruitment tactic right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, the families of victims from the tragic Uvalde school shooting have just reached a settlement in court, but they're saying this is just the beginning. And multiple naval officers have been accused of taking bribes for classified information. Well, those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Finding the right vehicle for you and your family can be a daunting task. At Varney Buick GMC, our expert staff is here to make the journey as painless as possible. Our goal is to get you and your family in a vehicle that will best fit into your lifestyle. Communication is key, and our team makes sure to be completely transparent throughout the process, informing you on all of your options. Come experience Varney value, only at Varney Buick GMC.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, chances are you have a lot of questions. Norm Prouty has answers. Learn some tips and tricks and explore some beautiful new homes on the market. The Norm Prouty and Donnell Baker Real Estate Show, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on Fox 22.
Feeling Claritin Clear is like...
Is she letting her imagination run wild even though she has allergies? Yeah.
Wanna leave works all day so I can keep working my magic. Just wanna leave. 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief. Aleve, who do you take it for? And for fast topical pain relief, try Aleve X.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint chip with a rich fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery, from Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
So, all of us are here to talk about trading. Right now at US Cellular, you can get a new phone without having to trade in your old one.
Trade you my PB&J for that phone.
No, kid, you don't have to trade. See? $830 off any phone at US Cellular. No trade-in needed.
You drive a hard bargain. Boom. Chocolate milk.
You don't have to trade.
I'll take the chocolate milk.
Okay.
Get $830 off any phone. No trade-in needed with any unlimited data plan.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Families of victims in the tragic school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, nearly 2 years ago have agreed to a settlement with the city. But this won't be the end of lawsuits stemming from the alleged negligence by police responding to the scene. Fox's Connor Hansen has more.
It's been an unbearable 2 years.
Nearly 2 years after 19 children and 2 teachers were killed at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, the families of victims have gathered again. This time they're announcing a $2 million settlement with the city, along with the promise of better training for police, mental health services for the community, and a permanent memorial for the lives lost.
We all know who took our children's lives, but there was an obvious systemic failure out there on May 24th. The whole world saw that.
But the families aren't stopping there. They also announced a lawsuit against the Texas Department of Public Safety, including officers who responded to the shooting. It alleged the officers did not follow active shooter training, waiting outside the school for more than an hour instead of immediately confronting the gunman. The group plans to sue the federal government as well.
You had over 150 some odd federal officers there who also were there and stood around until one or more breached the room at 77 minutes. Sure, that was a heroic act. It was a heroic act 77 minutes late.
Earlier this year, the Justice Department released a lengthy report detailing the, quote, cascading failures of federal, state, and local police responding to the active school shooter.
Consider that no disciplinary action has been taken, none, against any of these 376 officers. Think about that.
Families said the settlement was capped at $2 million because they didn't want to bankrupt the city where they live. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
There are significant logistics and security challenges for the $320 million pier built by the U.S. to facilitate humanitarian aid for Gaza residents. This comes as a handful of countries are announcing a major policy change in the region. Fox's Trey Yangst shows us from Tel Aviv.
Spain, Norway, and Ireland all taking a symbolic and controversial stand, saying they will recognize Palestine as a state.
The attention of several European countries to recognize a Palestinian state is a reward for terrorism. 80% of the Palestinians in Judea and Samaria support the terrible massacre of October 7th. This evil cannot be given a state.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came out against the move, making no distinction between Hamas and the Palestinian people. Civilians like Abul Khosa, who, with his 4-year-old son, headed toward the American pier in Gaza this week, focused not on politics, but on humanitarian policy.
There is no food in our house. We came to get aid, and now we are leaving with nothing.
Nearly 230 days into the conflict, there are major logistic challenges that are making aid distribution across Gaza nearly impossible, despite 695 tons of aid being delivered to the shores of the Strip. Not all of it is making it into Palestinian hands, and some of the supplies were intercepted this week and taken from trucks heading to a warehouse.
The issue is not actually getting food to the pier or off the pier. It's being able to ensure that we have necessary security arrangements in place to deliver it. We have had modalities to get some of that aid distributed. We are in the process of building out to get more of it distributed.
It's not just northern Gaza affected by logistics. The UN halted aid to southern Gaza amid a lack of supplies and insecurity. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yangst, Fox News.
Several former U.S. Navy officers accused of taking bribes from a Malaysian defense contractor have had charges against them dismissed. Authorities blame prosecutorial errors. Fox's chief national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin takes a look from the Pentagon.
For more than 20 years, Leonard Glenn Francis, a former Malaysian defense contractor known as Fat Leonard, bribed hundreds of Navy officers for classified information, eventually defrauding the U.S. government and American taxpayers of at least $35 million.
He gave them a taste of the high life by taking them out to these fancy dinners, organize these sex parties with prostitutes in Asia.
The officers look the other way as he grossly overcharged the government for U.S. Navy contracts.
He was this, big, jolly, 350-pound Malaysian guy who seemed very patriotic. He wore U.S. flags on his necktie. He had God Bless the USA on his cell phone ringtone. They didn't see him as a foreign risk. They fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Fat Leonard was caught in 2013, put under house arrest. In 2022, he cut off his ankle bracelet, called an Uber, and escaped to Tijuana and then Venezuela. He was extradited back to the U.S. last December. Nearly 1,000 Navy officers have been investigated for the scandal, including 91 admirals. Only 34 defendants have been criminally charged.
Many of these Navy officers referred to Leonard as boss. He could compel officers who were his informants or moles to do what he wanted. The vast majority of admirals and senior officers got away with either a slap on the wrist from the Navy or nothing happened at all.
Lieutenant Commander Stephen Shedd confessed to leaking military secrets for $105,000 in bribes and prostitutes. On Tuesday, Lieutenant Commander Shedd's entire case was dismissed by a San Diego judge due to prosecutorial errors. 4 other retired U.S. military officers who had pleaded guilty of disclosing classified information also had their felony charges dismissed. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
A bipartisan team of lawmakers visited Turks and Caicos to help bring home 5 detained Americans. Fox's Chad Pergram has more from Capitol Hill.
A coalition of bipartisan bicameral lawmakers organizing to help 5 American tourists. They face a minimum of 12 years in prison for accidentally leaving ammunition in their luggage on recent visits to the Turks and Caicos. A delegation of lawmakers met with officials from the islands. They hope to get the charges reduced to a customs fine, since the Americans posed no threats and carried no guns.
They go there completely of the best intention. They are not the ones sparking any sort of criminal activity or any sort of gang-related activity.
But Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin called the meetings unproductive. He said officials do not trust the American criminal justice system. And other lawmakers claim the Biden administration is not making this a priority.
State Department has not been actually very helpful. That's why we went down as a congressional delegation to meet with the governing authorities there.
80% of all tourism in Turks and Caicos comes from the U.S. Some lawmakers are considering asking the State Department to issue a travel warning to the islands, while others are threatening economic retaliation. But Pennsylvania Democrat John Fetterman says he remains optimistic. He added that Turks and Caicos officials were, quote, understanding of the need to resolve the issue.
I'm optimistic. He spent too much time there, but now we've been able to expedite this, and actually the TCI leadership appreciated us all coming down there, and that really brought it to the forefront.
The first sentencing hearing for the detained Americans is scheduled for Friday. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
A Michigan dairy worker has been diagnosed with bird flu, making this the second human case of the virus associated with an ongoing outbreak in U.S. dairy cows. The patient reportedly tested positive following an eye swab. They're said to have suffered from a mild eye infection linked to the virus, and they have recovered. Experts maintain that the risk to the public is low.
The risk to the general public remains low. We know that with our current understanding of H5 influenza and H5 influenza, particularly in livestock, that there is the risk for sporadic human cases, and that's what we've seen at this time. What we have not seen is any sort of sustained human-to-human transmission.
Over the past few years, bird flu has been spreading to more and more animals, including dogs, cats, skunks, bears, cows, and even seals.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, AAA expects a near record amount of travelers this holiday weekend. We'll hear from them.
And in sports, one Bangor Ram is going to be lacing them up next year for the hometown Black Bears. We'll have that story coming up.
The $1 Million Music Game Show returns.
We need you to remember the lyrics of the song.
Don't forget the lyrics. Premieres May 23rd on Fox.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are zero, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today. Hey Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer. Thousands of kids like Grayson and Elliot receive care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year. You can help them by supporting the Summer Classic for Maine Kids. This golf tournament will help kids receive care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center by raising funds to ensure that health care is available today, tomorrow, and in the years ahead. Every dollar raised helps kids get back to the business of being kids. For more information about the tournament and how to register, please visit northernlight.org/forkids.
In an attempt to lower gas prices, the Energy Department is announcing the release of 1 million barrels of oil from a Northeast reserve. It comes as millions of Americans head out for the Memorial Day holiday. Fox's Caroline Shively has more.
AAA predicts a record 38 million Americans will gas up and get out of town this Memorial Day weekend, paying an average of $3.61 for a gallon of regular, more than a 6-cent drop from a month ago, but about 7 cents higher than this time last year.
I think a lot of us will travel no matter what.
To try to lower prices, the Department of Energy is selling 1 million barrels from the Northeast Gasoline Supply Reserve in a move mandated by Congress.
Thanks to Congress's efforts and the president's vision, we are executing a focused, deliberate strategy that positions our businesses to dominate, our workers to compete, and our communities to thrive. And it is working.
It's such a small amount that it's unlikely to affect prices much. The U.S. uses about 9 million barrels of gas a day.
They're going to try and distract the American public with that, like they're actually doing something like opening up the and draining more of our strategic oil reserve, which is a dangerous thing to do.
46% of drivers tell GasBuddy that the high cost of fuel has impacted their travel itineraries. But gas is just one price tag on the minds of Americans.
Housing prices, utility prices, gasoline prices, they're really suffering.
Some folks may not know if their paychecks are going to make ends meet next month.
The latest data shows consumer prices dropped last month, but overall, prices are up almost 20% since President Biden took office. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The King of Rock and Roll's former home, Graceland, will remain in his family's hands. A Tennessee court ruling to delay the foreclosure sale of Elvis Presley's iconic home on Wednesday. Fox's Dana Marie McNichol has the story.
The real estate is considered unique under Tennessee law.
A Tennessee judge saves Elvis Presley's iconic home, Graceland, from the auction block. The judge upholding a temporary restraining order issued Monday, blocking a planned foreclosure sale of the King of Rock and Roll's former home.
The loss of the real estate would be considered irreparable harm.
But the delay is only temporary. Presley's granddaughter, Riley Keough, still has to prove a firm called Nasani Investments is fraudulently trying to sell off her family's estate. The firm claims it loaned Lisa Marie Presley $3.8 million and received the deed to Graceland as collateral, a loan she allegedly never repaid before her death in 2023. But Keough, who now owns Graceland, claims no such loan exists.
The notary has sworn that the notary did not notarize the signature of Lisa Marie Presley on the deed of trust. question as to the authenticity of the signature.
Hours after today's court hearing, Nisani Investments released a statement saying it would withdraw all its claims over Graceland. It's unclear if they have filed that motion with the court. Attorneys for the actress presented an affidavit from the notary listed on the Nisani's loan documents. That notary saying they never met Lisa Marie and never notarized any documents for her. During the hearing, the judge noted that Keough may have a case if she can prove fraud. In Memphis, Dana Maria McNichol, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Maine home sales and their prices both rose in April. Maine Listings is reporting a jump of more than 17.5% in the sale of single-family homes across the state. The median sales price of those homes reached $382,000. That's an increase of almost 4% compared to April of 2023. Piscataquis County saw the biggest jump in price with an increase of more than 46%.
As we approach the unofficial start of summer, many are planning to travel for Memorial Day weekend, and roads are likely to be packed. AAA is anticipating the second highest volume of travel they've ever seen. That, according to Public Affairs Manager Pat Moody.
Anytime that you have increased travel volumes, you want to plan in extra time for sure. Plan your trip accordingly. If you're going to the airport, build in extra time for parking and getting through security. Going by automobile, which most will be doing, we've got about 38.5 million Americans traveling by automobile. You want to plan your trip out, make sure your vehicle's ready.
Some good information there, especially if you're taking a longer trip, making sure that everything is up to par on your vehicle.
Yeah.
Checking your tires and oil and all of that is a good idea.
Yeah, having trouble on the road is stressful enough, but when you're doing so in the context of stressful travel, when there's increased traffic, many more motorists on the road than usual, that can really kind of up the ante there. And you also then have to take into consideration the fact that it's going to take help longer to get to you because there are more travelers on the road. So best to just exercise that extra ounce of caution and just make sure all of your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed.
Yeah, some good things to keep in mind. And we had some summer-like temperatures today, hoping that extends into the holiday weekend.
Indeed, for good driving weather, if nothing else. Our full 5 days coming up. Stay with us.
Mostly mid-80s across the area today, but some changes are on the way. Still 80s tomorrow, also Friday, but then cooler temperatures with some rain. Details on that when I come back.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do, day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. And we protect Hood Milk with our light block bottle. We care about our milk because we know how much you care about what you give your family. So you can feel good about Hood.
What do heavy rain, extreme heat, and flying lumber all have in common? They're just a few of the things we use to test our replacement windows. At Renewal by Andersen, we put our windows through the worst because your home deserves the best. Renewal by Andersen acclaimed custom replacement windows. Call or visit us online today to get some incredible savings. Affordable financing, too.
Breathing Claritin Clear is like feeling the breeze instead of feeling congested. Fast relief of allergies with nasal congestion so you can breathe better. Claritin plus decongestant. Live Claritin Clear.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Lowe's knows you're kicking off summer hosting, so we're kicking off summer savings. Shop deals for every gathering this Memorial Day and get savings on all the items you need to jumpstart the season. And with the My Lowe's Rewards credit card, you can save 5% every day. Shop now at Lowe's.
This is the make or break moment. The chance to carve your name into the history books. This is the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio in Penobscot Plaza in Bangor. And what a nice day we had today. Temperatures up in the 80s for Bangor, also Millinocket, also for Greenville. A little bit of a sea breeze, 77 Bar Harbor today, but overall a humid, kind of warm day for our region. Tomorrow, same story, but a bit cooler across our region for tomorrow. Lots of heat going around from the plains, 70s, 80s, and 90s over here. We'll keep that going tomorrow with 80s for us tomorrow and Friday, followed by some cooler temperatures over the weekend. So we are sweating this one out, right? It's humid out there. Dew points are high. The sun today made it feel even warmer. Tomorrow it's going to be a bit cooler, but still warm. The average high is near 70. We'll be up in the low 80s again tomorrow. With a wind out there, not a bad one, right? Out of the south, around 10 to 15 miles per hour today. It's actually going to go calm for a couple hours again tonight, just like last night before coming back tomorrow afternoon. It could gust tomorrow evening near 10 to 15. But overall, some dense fog is back in the forecast again tonight and probably tomorrow night too, as the wind goes calm overnight tonight into tomorrow night too. All right, so lots of clear skies out there for us today. A couple of widespread cloud cover areas later in the day, but most of us saw lots of sunshine. But then we're looking to the west of us, right? There's a thing over here, a cold front that is moving our way, and we're not going to miss this one. So likely tomorrow afternoon, some showers and storms across our area. Any of those could be on the stronger side with some gusty winds, some brief heavy rain, and probably some hail in there as well. Behind that, there's another one. So system 1 gets in here tomorrow. Another one gets in here probably later on Sunday into Monday with some more rain showers then. Let's walk you through it. So tonight, no issues at all. Tomorrow, again, a chance for a few scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. Those could be locally strong. Then we'll get a break in the action late tomorrow evening, and then overall looking pretty good for Friday as well before more showers get in here. There could be a couple sprinkles midday on Friday. Most of us won't see that. And then over the weekend, we're mostly dry before another system gets in here later Sunday into Monday with a couple of thunder showers across the area then. But overall, there's not going to be a ton of rain unless you get under a thunderstorm tomorrow. It could give you a quick inch of rain. The rest of us probably a widespread 1/10 of an inch of rain, maybe a 1/4 inch before we get to Monday afternoon, many days from now. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is lots of cloud cover out there late, dense fog in there too. Look for low temperatures or not so low temperatures near 58 with that south breeze around 5 for tomorrow. All right, so scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms. Dry hours too. Still muggy, still humid. High temperatures back up in the low 80s again. A couple of storms could be on the stronger side with that gusty winds and also some small hail. And then looking ahead here, 5-day forecast shows tomorrow storms across the region. A bit cooler for Friday, partly cloudy skies. Here's Saturday, 78, partly cloudy. Our next bigger system gets in here late Saturday, Sunday into Monday with a good chance for some rainfall then.
Alrighty, Jeff, thank you.
All right, and sports is coming right up. Stay with us.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Mesothelioma is more than a ravaging illness. It is a disease that can ruin a family's finances and is never the victim's fault. The law offices of Joe Bornstein has been fighting and winning for Maine families for nearly 50 years, and we've collected over $500 million for injured Mainers. If you or a loved one is a victim of mesothelioma or asbestos-related lung cancer, call Joe today for a free case evaluation and to learn about your family's legal rights. Dial 207-CALL-JOE or online at joebornstein.com.
There are plenty of good reasons to have a dock at your camper lakefront home and to choose a ShoreMaster Premium Dock System or Floating Poly Dock System from Hammond Lumber Company. Lightweight and durable, ShoreMaster high-grade aluminum docks are easy to install and maintain, and poly docks are perfect for dealing with deep or fluctuating water levels. Both offer a wide range of available configurations. There's a ShoreMaster or Poly Dock system that's right for you, and you'll find it at Hammond Lumber Company.
Buying a home is a big family experience.
Oh, where else would you want to live?
Every story's different. I grew up on another farm, and now I own my own. I got introduced to a credit union when I was in college. Whether they got one customer that day to 1,000 customers that day, it feels like you are the one. The lender that you're talking to, you will see him after work at the T-ball game. It is our dream home. It's heaven, I guess. Did you get mommy? The local credit union can give you that peace of mind from start to finish, and that's what they did here.
Tonight's sports is brought to you by the KG. Stop in for hunting and fishing supplies, apparel, and homemade food.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. What a night it was for the Boston Celtics on Tuesday. The C's holding on to a 1-0 series lead over the Pacers in a thrilling win in overtime, 133-128 in Game 1. The Celts snatching victory from the jaws of defeat Tuesday with 10 seconds left. The Pacers had a three-point shot and the ball, but this costly turnover gave the Celtics new life. Then, with time winding down, Jaylen Brown nails a game-tying a corner three, sending this instant classic to overtime. The Pacers could not score in the final 5 seconds, and then in the extra period, Jason Tatum would take the baton and score 10 of his game-high 36 points, leading the Celtics to an improbable win in an incredible game.
Obviously made some plays at the end. JB gave us a second chance by hitting that shot. Right, we got a second chance. Like, let's take advantage of it. Let's figure out a way to win this game.
And welcome to the NBA playoffs. You just got to manage your emotions of the game. Anything can happen, and it's not over till it's over. And we found a way to win this game at the very end.
To the track now over at Bangor High. One Ram putting pen to paper Wednesday and will officially be lacing him up with the University of Maine track and field team next season. Bangor's Gage Jones signing his national letter of intent as he prepares to become a Black Bear in the fall. Jones is a 4-year varsity letter winner with the Rams, and he really is a jack of all trades. He sprints, competing in the 100, 200, and 400-meter races. He throws shot put and also competes in the triple jump and long jump. He says he's focusing on sprints and jumps in college. Other schools were in the running for Jones, but he says Maine was just the right fit.
The biggest thing was, for me, was finding a place that fit like my needs, both academically and athletically. And I definitely found my fit with Maine. There's a couple other options out there I really looked at and really tried to see if that was going to be the place for me. But at the end of the day, it was really UMaine. The deciding factor was the flexibility of the schedule. So UMaine has multiple different practice times. And for me, I still plan to work almost full-time as a student as well. So being able to have that flexibility gives me range to be able to do everything I want to do.
Gage will study mechanical engineering and technologies at Maine and says his goal is to make a national meet while he is there. There are a few of his past teammates already with the Black Bears, as well as former Rams runners scattered across D1 programs around New England, which is all a testament to the type of program they have at Bangor.
The support from the coaches and the team, we have a really solid program overall. I think it's hard to find anywhere else, honestly. Our coaches put a lot into our programs, peaking-wise, everything's put together, It's a complete package, it really is.
All right, now let's go to some high school lacrosse. Big night in Brewer Wednesday, lacrosse night in Brewer. The first time that all the communities in Penobscot County that offer varsity lacrosse are represented on the same night. It was a doubleheader that started with Bangor girls lacrosse facing the HAB Co-op. First quarter, Bangor passing it around. Isabella Fagone to Sadie D'Alessio. Her shot saved by Cadence Moran. Later, off the whistle, Bangor's Adela Maybe passes to Kirsten Daigle right in front, and she scores to put the Rams up 1-0. Second quarter, it's 2-0 now. Maybe again with it, and she passes it up to Emma Webster. She shoots and scores. Nice play. It's 3-0. Finally, here's Jasmine Roy, scooping up the loose ball for the Rams, and she shoots a sidewinder on the run into the net to extend the Rams' lead. Bangor goes on to win 13-3. Now to the nightcap, Hamden Academy boys facing Brewer. First quarter, already 2-0 Broncos, and Evan Vivas through sticks to the face and all, gets to the doorstep and scores. 3-0 Hamden. Later, it's 3-1 now. Brewers' Cole Harriman, the pass over to Trey Dumont, and he drops one in to bring it within one. A couple minutes later, Harriman again, this time to Charles Bridges, and look at the speed on that shot. It's a goal. We're tied at 3. Finally, Hamden's Keith Brooks is going to get around the defense here, shoot, and scored to give the Broncos the lead. They're up 6-4 at the half. They close strong and win it 15-5. And finally, some softball. Ellsworth visiting Herman Wednesday. Two great teams in B North here. Top of the second, Ellsworth's Cameron Clow, a liner, but Nora Idano with the quick reflexes in the field for the out. Bottom second, Herman Sophie Peterson up the middle with a base hit. The runner from second, Molly Simcox, comes in to score, sliding home safely, 1-0 Hawks. Top three, Ellsworth's Aaliyah Manning lays down the bunt. The play to first goes awry. In comes Brooklyn Carter to score, and we are tied up. Now it's Jaden Sullivan up, and she's going to have a base hit up the middle of her own. Manning crosses home easily to give them the 2-1 lead. Ellsworth goes on to win it 5-2. Okay, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start your summer with a splash. Nailed it.
You could get 1.99% financing on most Tundra hybrid and gas models. Toyota, let's go places.
Feeling Claritin Clear is like...
Is she letting her imagination run wild even though she has allergies? Yeah.
OneAleve works all day, so I can keep working my magic. Just OneAleve. 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief. Aleve, who do you take it for? And for fast topical pain relief, try Aleve X.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust. With no artificial growth hormones. So you can feel good about Hood.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Depression is a journey. I'd made some progress on my antidepressant, had some daily wins in reducing my symptoms, but I was still masking my depression. So I talked to my doctor. She told me I could build on my wins without changing my antidepressant.
Rexulti, when added to an antidepressant, significantly reduced depression symptoms, more than an antidepressant alone.
And less depression, that's a win.
Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have an increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells. Unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Keep moving forward. Ask your doctor about Rexulti.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it.
Major League Baseball, all season long, on Fox.
What do we have here? Surprise, surprise, or seen it coming? A trophy hunter or a party crasher?
An action-packed saga continues. A famous feline brings a movie adventure and more. Here is a look at new releases this week with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Anya Taylor-Joy leads the action-packed prequel Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. The story follows Furiosa taking on the warlord Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth, as she battles through the wasteland to make her way home. Chris Pratt voices that lasagna-loving and Monday-hating cat in the Garfield movie, an adventure which reunites the famous feline with his long-lost father, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson.
George shall ever be known as Keeper.
Keeper of the names. Based on a true story, The Keeper is about an Army veteran raising awareness of military member suicides by hiking the full Appalachian Trail while carrying 363 name tapes from military members who committed suicide.
She's teaching me that there's more to life than what you see.
Also inspired by real life is Sight, about a Chinese immigrant who becomes a world-renowned eye surgeon in the U.S., trying to restore the sight of a blind orphan.
Okay, Daniel Day.
In select theaters, then streaming on Netflix June 7th, is Richard Linklater's comedic thriller Hitman, co-written by and starring Glenn Powell as a professor and fake hitman who meets his match in a new client.
We don't have much time.
Netflix also has Atlas with Jennifer Lopez as a data analyst with a distrust of AI, who has to team up with the tech on a mission to capture a renegade robot.
The Beach Boys!
Disney Plus adds The Beach Boys, a documentary telling the story of the band from start through stardom, with never-before-seen footage and new interviews. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
A Bangor man will soon unveil the latest version of what he believes to be an industry-changing invention more than a decade in the making. Refrigeration technician James Lebrecht hopes to revolutionize supermarkets across the country with the Flex Cube. He says the cube can run an entire supermarket's refrigeration system and heat the store without the need for large mechanical rooms.
This machine right here replaces very large rooms full of monstrous mechanical equipment. This recovers all the heat at an efficiency of 500%.
Lebrecht says the Flex Cube will also lower overall energy costs and help address the environmental impact of supermarkets. For more on that and to hear from a University of Maine student who's also involved in the project, you can view this story on our website, foxbangor.com.
Students at the University of Maine are working to help keep our state healthy and beautiful by preserving precious pollinators. The Black Bear Beekeepers, a club made up of students from the University of Maine, are working to protect and preserve bees in our state. The pollinators impact our lives in a number of ways, including being responsible for 1/3 of the food and drink we consume. Experts say pollinator species across the country are at risk of extinction due to habitat loss, pesticide use, and climate change. But the students hope to help by implementing pollinator gardens on campus.
The main goal is just to provide a space that the pollinators can be happy and healthy, so water source and a lot of different plants that flower throughout the season.
We've been branching out, we've been doing more things. We have plans of putting in a pollinator garden around here. So it's just so exciting to be a part of.
The club currently maintains 5 hives all year round, and they say no prior experience or knowledge is necessary, as part of their mission is educating while creating a safe environment for new beekeepers. According to the club's president, they recently received the designation of Bee Campus USA, a designation that highlights the hard work and dedication the club has put into beekeeping, and it also connects them with others rallying together to protect our pollinators. They hope to see more people get involved in this growing industry. And I've always been just so fascinated by beekeepers. You know, when you watch them go to a property and, you know, they find the hive and then gently extract it. I mean, it's just amazing to watch. And, you know, you just wonder what vibe they exude that the bees are just cool with them being there,
right?
You know? Yeah.
It's amazing. You have to stay calm around them. It's something that, you know, a lot of us fail to do when they're, you know, swarming around us. But,
absolutely.
Just really cool to see the interest growing in that field and awareness being spread of just how important those pollinators are.
To our food supply, absolutely. Alrighty, folks, well, that is going to do it for us. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC7, right now for ABC7 News at 11.
You push it. You try to slide it. You even try to hold the...
got Amy Poehler, Patton Oswalt, and Slash sits in with the band. New Jimmy Kimmel.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us.